Hi, everyone. I'm Foxx your host with the most fur, and here soon enough we'll have Poetically Christian Gamer come on. I'm just setting this up ahead of time, just a minute beforehand. I sent him the link, and he should be joining us shortly. So uh, be on the lookout for that. It should be exciting. It's always exciting here on the Fox Hiker Show, and these Foxx Talks videos are always a blast. So as soon as he's ready and roaring, we'll get rolling with the interview. It should be great. Oh, here he is. Hang on. I see you now. And
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can
All
you
right, cool. I'm so glad to be here. What do you call it? The Fox Den or?
I call it Foxx Talks for right now.
There you go. I like it.
I do like the Fox 10 idea. I should probably consider that.
It's good to be here, and I thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, for those who might not know, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you came across gaming, the YouTube life.
Oh, been a long story. I the YouTube journey has been a long and up and down one, but basically, I started out as kind of a channel wanting to spread the gospel kind of thing, and I'm a preacher. I'm a legally blind preacher and gamer. My name is Derek. I run the YouTube channel Poetically Christian Gamer. I also have a Twitch channel, Poetically Christian Gamer. My main series on there is called The Blind Preacher Plays, which is a series where a legally blind preacher, tries to conquer games while we glorify God's name. And I like to remind folks that no matter what cross they personally face, they can overcome it with perseverance and God's grace. So we kind of started out as I just wanted to put Bible sermons up there that I did. And I'm an author of 3 books. I wrote poetry. And so I'd share some of my poems, things like that. But in YouTube land, as you probably know, if you try to do a variety, it's going to be a long road. Kind of the algorithm, YouTube doesn't know what to do with you. And so I after a year or so of that, I realized that, that eventually I was going to run out of things for my books to be able to share. So it wasn't sustainable. So I thought, I like gaming. I've always been a gamer since I was a kid. Maybe I could use this as a vehicle, to spread the word to people. And so I started gaming on the channel, and, I've been doing it ever since. And I like to kind of provide a place where it's just, a chill place. YouTube sometimes, especially gaming channels, can be kind of a vulgar place. You click on a video. Where this started is my wife and I, we were looking, I'm 42. So I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s. So we were trying to find a playthrough of Super Mario RPG. I know it's a eclectic game, but we must have went through 25 maybe different YouTubers trying to find a playthrough where someone wasn't, dropping F-bombs every 5 seconds or doing crazy stuff. And we could not find it. And that was the day where I was like, you know what? I need to create a place that's just chill, where we can have fun and people can watch game playthroughs and not have to worry about that kind of stuff. And so that kind of, made the gaming better for me and made it kind of a journey for me, or made me say, I'm going to do this. And I like to say I provide a safe zone for God's zone. So that's where that came from. And I grew up a Sega kid. I was probably one of 10 people that had a Sega Master System when everybody else was rocking an NES.
Nice. I had a Genesis later on, but I had the original Nintendo.
Yeah. My buddies all did too. And I had a hand-me-down Sega Master System from my cousin. And so that's what then I went to the Genesis too. And I was kind of a Sega kid. Then I became a traitor to my own kind and went to the PlayStation, and then came back.
Oh, no. Did you come back with Dreamcast?
Yeah, came back with Dreamcast.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think you're safe then. That's
there
when
you go. I
that's
was
when
a
I thought
trainer.
they were really making a comeback.
Yeah, yeah. I always wanted a Saturn, never had one.
Yep, same
Yeah.
here. They're
So
a
how
bit
about, I
pricey
was
now.
curious on your end, how did the Fox it come about, the Fox play in your name?
Well, my original channel was a variety mixed bag, like you were
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
it's hard to strike that algorithm.
Oh yeah.
And part of the inspiration for me too was that a lot of the YouTube space, especially with gaming, it's just it's mostly negative a lot of the times. And I'm
Yeah.
like, from my end though, it was more about like, where's the passion for gaming anymore? Like, aren't people looking for the fun? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we seem to be a bit more critical these days, and
Oh yeah.
it's I just wanted to be a counterbalance to that, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of the reason I started Fox Talks is to get other people on and just be like, let's talk some gaming, like, like what got us into gaming and
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah. I
fun
like it.
stuff.
That's a good idea. I like it. You get different perspectives and stuff, keeps things fresh and
Oh yeah, and we
yeah.
always have a good time here, it seems. So I mean, I
Yeah.
keep it rolling.
Yeah, I like you're definitely, I seen you playing the Dark Souls and stuff. That's way beyond me. I'm not much of an RPG guy. I know those games are, I watch other people play through stuff, but that's rough.
So I looking at some of your videos and stuff. Should Christians play Dark Souls?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like it. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
I'd
me,
also love to hear what your thoughts on Persona.
that's a good idea
Yes,
too.
it's that can be a touchy one for some people too, I know, but
Yeah.
uh you seem in a unique position to be able to deliver a Christian point of view and
Yeah.
accessibility point of view. I noticed,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
really valuable.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to keep an open mind. I like to say leave it up to people's own discernment, and judgment on whether they think something's right for them. I just let them know what's in it, and then you be the judge. But yeah, it's interesting. There's not a lot of people putting out videos to let people know what's in games as far as, whether it be moral content or physical accessibility. That's kind of a hard thing to find. And so I
Yeah,
thought, well, I'll take it on and, I might not be the best at it, but at least there'll be something out there.
I had a friend that was hard of seeing in the past, and
Yeah.
he would play PS2 a lot, and we were super into anime and everything.
Yeah.
And so uh, when we would play games like Budokai, it was a lot different for him than it was for me.
Yeah.
He's like, to me, Goku's kind of just an orange blur that does stuff.
Yeah.
But he still beat me most of the times too. So, it's hard for me to see what it's like in that situation. But I'm sure there's games you excel in too. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a fighting game guy. Being the age that I am, we kind of grew up in the revitalization of the arcades. The arcades were big in the '80s. You got Pac-Man, Galaga, that kind of stuff in the '80s, mid '80s. But I was an infant. But
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 comes around in '91, and suddenly fighting games are all the rage.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with the Street Fighter 2s, the Mortal Kombats, the Killer Instincts in the arcade, and learning my tricks on the sticks, and that's what I grew up with. And so to this day, that's what I always find myself going to.
Nice. I
Yeah.
couldn't go to the arcades very often, but I usually gravitated towards the fighting games too.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen you played Street Fighter 6, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
uh, on my original channel anyway. But Street Fighter 6 I found pretty fun actually.
Yeah, I like it.
I didn't like the fact that each individual Ninja Turtle was a price, but
Oh, yeah, Injustice, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Injustice 2, yeah, I didn't like that. That's man, what a crazy thing. I mean, you're about my age, aren't you?
yeah. I
Yeah.
am your age. I'm 42 as well.
Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
September.
Oh, so I'm in June, so I'm your senior. Yeah, that's, we're a unique position too of remembering the day where everything was on the disc or, not there was no DLC and
Yeah,
yeah, and it's just like today, if you grow up today, you have no idea that there was ever a time where a game was complete, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
My son, he's 13, and he puts a window kind of on things. Uh, for him, it's all about the Fortnite and
Oh yeah.
the immediate games. And sometimes he'll lag or something, and he'll complain a bit. And I'm like, man, it used to take us a half an hour just to download a song
Oh my goodness.
off the
Yeah, yeah.
internet. So
Yeah, what was it?
5 second delay.
Napster or whatever that was?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Napster. Now we
Yeah.
feel old because I'm like, I catch myself saying back in my day,
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We've reached that age, yeah.
I never
Oh,
thought I'd reach it.
nah. No, and my nephew, if he's watching Caleb, he, plays, the Five Nights at Freddy's and the Minecrafts and all that stuff, and,
Yeah,
I try to me, I watch those games and I'm just like, I don't get it, but they get it and they like it. And I like watching their excitement for it.
yeah. I imagine, if such things were available to us as kids, we would have been all over it too, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure at that age. Yeah.
All that content for free? You got to
Yeah.
be kidding me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Fortnite. I couldn't imagine a game where it was constantly evolving and adding stuff to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been something.
So, just a fun question. What's
Sure.
your goat? What's your best game of all time?
Oh man. Oh, that would be rough.
It
Uh,
usually is, and it's okay to have multiple too, when
yeah,
you're among friends.
I don't it would be tough for me, probably between uh I don't know, Killer Instinct, the original, or maybe Super Street Fighter 2, probably.
So you
Uh
really are into fighting games then.
yeah, those would be my best. I like I said, I think at the age that I am too, I even appreciate arcade type games more because I don't have, the 200 hours to sink into a game anymore. And
Yeah.
so I want something I can play for a half hour, an hour, put it down and, on with my life.
Yeah, and fighting games are good for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just kind of checks all the boxes.
Other than Street Fighter 6, personally, I haven't been too invested in fighting games. That
Yeah.
was just one that kind of brought me back a bit because I'm kind of bored of the old RPG open world stuff for a while, and
Yeah.
a lot of games are getting cinematic. It's almost like movies. Sometimes you just want to, I don't know, kind of beat up another guy on there.
Yeah. 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 Tekken 8 was really good. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to mess with it, but it's pretty good.
I haven't yet. I heard that
Yeah.
got heavy with the microtransactions too, but
It
I
did.
wasn't
It
sure.
did. It
Yeah.
did. I haven't purchased any of them, but there's enough meat on the bone without having to get it to enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good then.
Yeah. Yeah. So how
I
long
saw
you
the
been?
trailer. I'm just like Tekken. Like I'm not
Yeah.
too familiar with that one in particular.
Yeah. Do you remember the Virtua Fighters for Sega back in the day?
Yeah, I remember the machines anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you know what Virtua Fighter, Tekken's, kind of similar. It's a 3D fighter. And Not
I
not a
see.
whole lot of throwing Hadoukens at each other, just kind of fisticuffs.
I gotcha. So it's
Yeah,
more martial arts than it is
yeah, yeah,
flashy moves.
yeah, definitely. So, what about you? What would your goat be?
Right now it's actually Elden Ring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard the
Um,
DLC for that's pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty rough too. But
Yeah.
people expect that kind of thing out of these games, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we'd be upset if it wasn't rough.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, kinda it's like reverting back. It's like when you were a kid, playing the NES, there's a reason it's called NES difficult, you know?
yeah,
And now
it,
here you are 42, and now you got NES difficult all over again.
it put me back to those days a little bit, like, unapologetic, just like
Yeah,
it is what it is kind of gameplay, and
yeah.
um, you really had to kind of figure out the boss's moves and stuff, and that's what we did, like with Super Metroid or
Oh,
any
man.
of these other games.
Yeah, Battletoads or
Yeah,
that
it
stuff was
came in a time where I was just kind of in a rut with gaming. Like I wasn't enjoying it as much, and then
yeah.
this game comes around, reminds me of the good old days, and
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
back in
so
the day, man, there was no, tool tips or pointing you in the direction you needed to go. It was sink or swim, kid.
yeah, we didn't have even game facts until the late '90s, I would say.
No. No, you had to rely on Nintendo Power or, some kind of magazine or
I remember seeing the old Sega magazines and stuff too, and that's how I figured out some of the things about Sonic One was a magazine at school.
Yeah. And that was one of the cool, like, magical things about games, the retro games, especially, is when we were growing up at that age, it was like the playground thing, like, well, I know this secret code for this or that. That's another thing. We got microtransactions in games and stuff, which again, when retro games, they were complete. But what happened to cheat codes? Why did that ever go away?
Yeah, or even the fun cheats, like
Yeah,
in what was it, Banjo and Kazooie, I want to say, or
yeah,
uh, Conquer, like the big head cheats and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the fun ones.
Yeah, or like NBA Jam, it's like, "Oh, I can play as Bill Clinton or the president," or,
Yeah,
Yeah, fun
yeah, it
stuff.
does make you wonder, like we talk about the Konami code, but we rarely see that sort of thing implemented anymore either.
No, no, and the developers say, "Well, we want people to play the games as they were intended to be played," but 3 months after they're out or less, people are modding them online anyway, so
They might as well be the modders.
Yeah, why not just throw the cheat codes in there and let people have fun?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know, it's kinda weird.
that's true.
Yeah,
I get the intended experience to some degree, though. I mean, they do have a vision of how they want it to be played in some cases, but
yeah.
sometimes you just kind of want that extra helping hand, and especially with retro games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I prefer those. I played modern games. I do both on the channel. I do retro and modern, but my heart is always kind of pulled back to the retro because I just seem to have more fun. Like basically the 360 and back or PS3 and back. I just
I've
I
been
like that
collecting a lot
time.
of PS3
Yeah,
myself lately.
yeah. I don't know, something about PS4, Xbox One moving forward. It doesn't have the same. It's like it doesn't have the same heart or something. I don't know.
For me, it feels like the PS4 turned into the PS5 rather quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, it didn't feel like we had enough, and now people are talking about like the PlayStation 6.
yeah, yeah. What do we
Like
like?
it's a little soon, guys. Like
Yeah, yeah,
feels
and
like we're just
especially
getting started.
when these consoles came out, we're off of COVID and the pandemic, and nobody could afford them, and they were in short supply. So the majority of us didn't even get them till 22 or 3, you know.
Yeah.
And here we
I
are in
didn't get
20.
mine till 2022, so
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and here we are 2 years later, 2.5 years later, and we're already talking about moving on, you know. Yeah, it's weird.
do you have any hopes for the future of the industry?
I do in a way. I get excited over indie games. To me, indie games is where it's at. It's
Yeah,
kind of like brought things back to the old day, to the retro days, and where people have imagination. You know, they're not just, well, like, it's not cookie cutter where it's like, well, to sell X amount of million copies of this game, we need to, you know, make sure this game has this, and this, and check the boxes. Indie
yeah,
games can just be free to do whatever they want, and that's what I like, you know.
yeah. Indie games don't have the budget constraints or the
Right,
bloat or nearly as many people involved.
right.
So
Yeah,
it could be a too many cooks in the kitchen
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's just these. I think a lot of times we're disappointed by these big AAA games.
It's but at the same time, games are a lot better than they used to be in a lot of ways too, I think.
Yeah,
Especially in
yeah.
the graphics department. Like
Oh, yeah, great, definitely.
I remember Mario 64 being released and we're like, "Oh, it's not going to get any better than this." And then
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. The budget for the graphics is it, like you said, they're getting almost cinematic now.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just that you know, that kind of comes with a price too. It's like the graphics are great, but now the size of your games are 200 gigabytes, and you can only
Yeah,
fit 3 games on your hard drive. And
take 10 years to make sometimes.
yeah, yeah, and you gotta wait 10 years for a sequel. And yeah, so I guess everything it's based on everything's subjective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our opinions, everybody's opinions subjective.
Yeah.
But
But the individual opinion matters, I think. But
yeah,
the when we're talking like Metacritic scores and
yeah,
stuff like that, it becomes too artificial, I think.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I never go with what people, you know, I've always been my own person. I like to think I've never been a person that just follows the trends or what everybody else is doing. You know, it's just everybody has their own thing. If you like a game, there's nothing wrong with liking a game, you know, because you like it, or you know, it's okay to like a game that's by world standards just okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's I've been
I did a video about that. Like it's okay for games to be okay.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I play on the channel Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That's probably one of the most hated games of all time, but I enjoy it. Like just the fact of being able to have, you know, Sub-Zero taking on Batman to me is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what?
That's like right up there with Marvel versus Capcom. You'd think it'd be
Right,
more popular.
right. Yeah, Marvel versus Cat. You know, it's just I don't know. That game always got a lot of heat, and I never understood. To me, it's perfect because it's, you know, like again from the Christian point of view, it's an approachable Mortal Kombat game, and not only that, you got a good roster with it. The fighting system's good. It's entertaining. You know, to us, it's, you know, awesome. You know, great.
Does it
But
have fatalities?
it does, but you know, you have the ability through the options actually to turn blood off, those off. It gives you
Okay.
freedom to do what you want to do, you know.
I normally I don't think about stuff like that, but it's cool that they give the options,
Yeah, yeah,
for those who might be more sensitive or,
yeah,
just don't want to see it, which
yeah,
I can understand too. So,
yeah. I mean, if you just want to play a fighting game for playing a fighting game's sake, you know, why not have it as an accessibility feature, you know?
so let's see. In the, growing up in the 80s and 90s, I mean, we can look back at how things have progressed, and they have
Oh,
progressed
man.
rather quickly too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why we feel old, is because it's all moving so fast and always
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back when we were growing up, like you said, if you got to the arcades once in a while, even, uh, that was the best version of a game. You had what you
Hands
had at
down, yeah.
home, but you wanted to go to the arcade because that was the best. And then by the time we hit the PlayStation 1 mid 90s, the games at home were getting as good as what you had then. There was no need to go there anymore. And it was
Yeah.
kind of the death of the arcade. So we've literally saw how the arcade died out, the home systems rose, and we kind of stuck with it. And
I miss that socialization a bit about it though, like
yeah.
going there with friends and playing games
Oh
and
yeah.
competing against other kids sometimes, and
Yeah. Yeah, one of my most vivid memories, I think I was, oh my goodness, probably 12, 14. I'm playing Mortal Kombat 2, which I probably, shouldn't have been playing at that age. But I'm playing it in the arcade, and I was really, really good at that game. And I had a line of about 10, 20 people behind me watching me play the game. And when I beat Shao Kahn at the arcade, they were just amazed. And that was like, to you as a kid, you're like, this is great. It's probably what somebody today having, 300 people in their stream feels like playing a game.
I I remember the people placing quarters on the screen to go next.
Yep.
I
Yep.
take
Who's next?
I take winner, man.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah. Absolutely.
and that feeling too when you're there in front of all those people and winning,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially like holding your place, and
Yeah.
it's a great feeling, I think.
Yeah. Kind of what
It's
like
something,
esports would be today.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, people today will never know what that's like.
Yeah.
All we got's the online lag and toxic stuff that goes with it sometimes. And
Yeah. And
yeah.
console rivalries just changed
Oh yeah.
companies, and
Yeah. Yeah, you were definitely team Sega or team Nintendo.
I was a blast processing kid. I was Sega.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Like, I enjoyed my Nintendo, like, that was my first console that I ever got as a kid. I was, like, 7 or 8 under the Christmas tree, brand new Nintendo Entertainment System with Zapper and Duck Hunt Mario combo, and I had the original Game Boy too,
Oh,
and,
wow.
that year, and I was the happiest kid ever, but once Sega Genesis came out, I'm like, okay, it's time to be a teenager now, not just be a kid playing Nintendo games, is how I perceived it back then.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that's something that we've seen change too. In the 80s, early 90s, if you were a person that played video games, you were kind of considered a nerd. It wasn't a cool thing to be the guy in your, basement with
Yeah.
your Nintendo. But now, if you're a good gamer or a YouTuber, that's like a cool thing. It's funny. We've seen it flip flop that way too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And more people are gaming now than ever, and it's fantastic.
yeah.
Which
Oh,
is,
yeah, yeah. Definitely.
and we got more games than ever to play,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
and
like it's like when you go to those streaming services like Netflix or whatever, and you start looking through these millions or whatever it seems like, thousands and thousands of movies, and you're like, I'll never be able to watch all these. We're kind
yeah,
of getting that way with our games. It's like you got all these games, like I'll never be able to play all these.
I'm not even sure I can make my way through my collection as it is right now.
Yeah, it's just like we're always in that pursuit of more and more.
I
Uh,
I stopped the other day though, like I was like I was cruising through Amazon and everything, and I'm kind of like, I don't really want to buy anything right now, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? You know?
yeah, yeah.
but at the same time, I have so much. There's prequels I want to beat first before getting the sequels, and I always add another one to the list. But I guess
Yeah.
it depends on how you look at the backlog.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the basement theology. It's kind of like, well, I put stuff in my basement because I may need that one day, and
Yeah.
we do that with games. It's like, well, we buy it today and put it on the back. Well, I'll get to it one day.
And YouTube, it's a little bit of a flex to show off a little bit, I suppose. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a lot of people are just kind of like, yeah, weird flex, man. Like
yeah, yeah,
they're video games, but
yeah. And we
I
keep,
think of them as an investment too, because like
yeah,
the 80s and 90s,
oh yeah,
we used to have our own collections of VHS,
yeah.
CDs, cassette tapes, and things like that. And that really kind of like you could tell kind of what a person was like by their movie selections,
Oh yeah, yeah. Or like those big wallet like of the CDs when you were maybe in high school or something. You
Yep,
kind of
yep,
judged a guy, your friend, on what CDs he had in his case.
yep.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
and
we
it's
would make
funny.
our mix CDs too on the burned CDs
Oh yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is once you grow up and you start having a family and children and stuff, let's say like the new Switch 2's coming out and you're like, "Oh, the new Switch 2's coming out." And let's get that, but it's for the children. Even though you're the one up at 3 a.m. playing it.
Yeah, my son wants one. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
He
Yes.
has a Switch OLED though, and
Yeah.
so he enjoys playing on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Switch is huge. My nephew's got one too, and Nintendo really had it together. Thinking of that, something that you can dock like a console or something you can take on the go. I mean, that you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they last a while too.
yeah, yeah. That's
Unlike
pretty
the
cool.
Game Gear, which lasted maybe an hour on 6 batteries.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I had one of those. Uh, Never had a
It was a
Game
neat
Boy.
idea though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It just didn't wasn't the same, but like you said, it was the genesis of those kind of things.
Another thing that we'll remember that kids today probably wouldn't know about is like the battery usage. How we used to kind of steal
Oh yeah.
the flip flopper batteries,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness.
power our Game Boys, and all that.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we
there
got
was.
rechargeable ones.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah. There wasn't any of that putting it on a charger and 20 minutes later being able to game again.
yeah.
Oh, I want to take the time to tell the folks in the chat, thank you guys for joining us, whoever's with us. I don't know if I took the time to do that. I'm sorry, but we appreciate you being with us.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to comment, guys, if you're watching. Make
Yeah,
sure to say hi too,
yeah, absolutely.
even in the future, like, this stream will probably be viewable after it's done
Yeah,
too. So,
sure. Yeah. So what games are you playing right now?
I'm making my way through surprisingly Veilguard,
Oh, okay.
Dragon's Age.
Yeah.
I found the story itself captivating anyway. Like, people criticize all sorts of things about this game, but um, the companions and the story itself I find cool, and I don't skip any of it. So, I just take it as it is. I
Yeah.
did reach some parts where, I kind of roll my eyes at and things like that, which are fair to critique, but overall, I think the game's fun to play.
Okay.
And I've been playing a bit of Marvel Rivals.
Yeah,
That's
I haven't
fun for
tried
me.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I play that almost daily. I gotta get those currencies or whatever.
Is it
And
is it kind of like a fighting? Is it like a platform type fighting game? Is that what it is?
it's like gosh, it's kind of like a 6 versus 6 kind of situation, or 5 versus 5. I don't remember quite well, but you got five. You got your whole roster of characters you can pick. You go in there, and it's pretty much a third person shooter. But
Oh, okay.
because they're heroes and stuff, they can do whatever the heroes can do.
Okay, that's cool.
Storms, summon storms. Um, Invisible Woman, turns invisible and
I got
can
you.
do a number of things. So it's
Okay,
fun.
that sounds cool.
Yeah. Uh, I like it just for it's an easy grind. It's
Yeah.
something to do for that half an hour, when I'm not trying to play anything too complicated.
Hey, hey friends. Hey, hello to you as well. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, girl dad. I recognize you from Rushmore show.
Yeah, it's Andy from the Rushmore Show. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, hey. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good show too. You guys need to watch that.
absolutely.
Rushmore is a good show. They
Yeah.
do lots of live streams, and
Yeah, you were on the Rushmore Show, weren't you?
yeah, not that long ago, doing the boss
Yeah.
fights and the boss battles.
Boss, but that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it
You
was
picked
a it was an interesting experience.
Oh yeah, I had fun on that. That was a blast.
Usually, I'm calling people to come onto the show. This was the first time I was actually asked to come on to somebody else's, so I'm like, it's cool.
Yeah, I felt like one of the cool kids. I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
especially cool when I interviewed Retro Rob as well. That was a
Oh
treat.
yeah. Retro Rob, he's a cool guy.
Yeah. He's one of the coolest guys, really.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody kind of says he looks like Keanu Reeves, and boy, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the commenters too said that when are you gonna have Keanu Reeves come back on?
Yeah,
And he said he would
it
one
is
day, so I mean that would be cool.
it
Oh,
is
Bryce is here too. Bryce JW.
yeah, I
He
seen
says
that.
hi.
Yeah, hey, hello to you. Yeah, that's
I had
cool.
him on just like a week or so ago.
Yeah, Bryce is he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah. So Marvel, I'll have to definitely keep Marvel Rivals on my radar there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of, kind of mix back and forth about, Assassin's Creed Shadows. That is a game that will split people right down the middle.
Oh yeah. I tried
Yeah.
to make a video to try to chill the flames a little bit, but
Yeah.
people seem to be either on one end of hating it or the other end of defending it. And I
Yeah.
was kind of like, there's some of us who are just like, it's just a game, man. It's not that deep, or
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't understand where that came from, every YouTuber is a critic of games now, and there's certain games like I said, you or I, we like just because we like they were okay to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember as a kid going, well, I'm not gonna play Street Fighter 2 because GamePro only gave it a 7 out of 10. It was hey, I saw that game in the arcade, or even worse, you went to Toys R Us and you flipped over that little plastic thing and all you had was those little screenshots and hey, the game looks cool and you got it home.
Yeah, Andy says podcast idea, honest reviews of terrible games.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Actually, I've been collecting some of the controversial games, they say, the ones that stir up a lot of noise online.
Oh
I
yeah.
wonder if I should do something like that. That would be
Yeah.
a fun experiment. Like I
Honest.
got Golem and Suicide Squad and those games.
Yeah,
And
Hogwarts Legacy.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that game got a lot of heat when it came out. Oh.
Got a lot of sales though.
Yeah, it
In
did.
the
I thought it
end.
was a good game, to be honest with you. I mean, I never got to play it, but I've watched others play it, and it looked interesting to me. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I think sometimes we read into stuff a lot, and some if there's something that's blatant, that's kind of calling out a particular group of people, then yeah, it needs to be called out. But some things we just kind of nitpick on.
Yeah, like streamers like Angry Video Game Nerd, for example.
Yeah,
He's rough with the games, and but you could tell that it comes from a comedic stance and
yeah,
one that comes from a place of a general love of the hobby. Like
yeah,
they're not like these more irate gamers that just bark just to bark, I
yeah.
guess.
I'm kind of convinced that a lot of them just go online, read what other people write in Reddit, and then just kind of use that same thing for a video.
Yeah, I don't think there's any defending Superman 64.
Oh, I thankfully never played that game, so but
Fun
I'll
enough,
bet
funny enough, it's a interesting little tidbit that it's just called Superman.
yeah.
It's not Superman 64, but we associate it that way, which I think is funny.
Yeah. Yeah, you mastered how to fly through those rings.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't mind it so much when I was playing Star Fox 64, but in
yeah.
Superman 64 is no thanks.
Yeah, and that was due to the controls, right? Isn't it like
Yeah,
notorious? Yeah, yeah,
they're a bit touchy, and you could veer off really easy and off path, and they did that on purpose, I'm sure, just to pan you know pan it
yeah,
out a bit. And
yeah. Andy knows all about that. He's joining us in the chat. He's a 64 guy. Yeah,
uh, I
it was
like
a
N64, but I
yeah,
can't say 10 games that I especially enjoyed on it. I suppose I can
yeah,
name 5, but
yeah. I had an N64. My only complaint with it was the controller, The controller was kind of a strange, thing.
yeah. Thinking about accessibility, my roommate, my friend, he has cerebral palsy, so it's hard for him to grip a lot of these controllers that are out, and
Yeah,
he's got really just one good hand. And the N64 controller actually really cemented his love for gaming even more because he
isn't
could
that something?
perfectly grip it with the way his hands are.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, and the one joystick too.
Yeah, there's my son back there. He waved for
Ah,
a second.
hello.
I said he could come on and add some of his insights too, but he's a bit shy.
Hey, why not? Yeah, I would have never thought of that, but yeah, the one joystick would make it, more accessible. That's a good point.
Yeah, and he was a master at Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
He got over the top score and everything. I was
Wow.
impressed.
That's awesome. That kind of stuff inspires, that's what I try to do. We have a series on the channel too that I call Disciples Above Disability, and I bring on a Christian autistic friend of mine named Paul, and he talks about how he's overcome what he faces, and I talk about myself, and we have other people that's jumped in the comments and things, and they tell us about these stories are amazing, and that's one of the things that helps inspire other people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have another friend, Cisco. If you're watching, hi Cisco. But he's a bit hard of seeing, and
Yeah.
he really likes the handheld markets more because he can really bring it up to his face and visually see.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And he's really good too. Like Mario Kart, I wouldn't want to face against him, especially if it's Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we all adapt, we're like that in life too, every one of us, whether it be a physical ailment, we all got something that we face, whether it's, economical, mental, emotional, I like to say we all have a cross to bear. We all have the things we have to carry through in this life, but the way that we carry them, the way that you handle them, and if you handle it with grace, you inspire other people. You might not even know somebody's watching your life and how you do things, but you're an example, the way you do things. And I'm always amazed at what people do, how they adapt, how they overcome. Uh, oh, Bryce. Yeah. Good to have you with us, Bryce. Yeah. I'll be glad to have you on the Disciples Above Disability, bro.
He's a good guest to have on.
Yeah,
I recommend
absolutely.
him.
Absolutely. I'll get in contact with you. Yeah, thanks for
So,
sharing that.
so what would you say? Um, how does your faith, would you say, influence your look on gaming?
Oh, yeah. I see things from a Christian worldview, we like to say. So let's take Spider-Man, for example. When some people see Spider-Man, they think of with great power comes great responsibility. And
Mm-hmm.
that's true. That's what Uncle Ben told Spider-Man. When I hear that, I think of Luke 12 and 48, where uh, Jesus tells us, for to whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. A little fun fact: Stan Lee actually was raised Christian, and that's where he got the "with great power comes great responsibility" line. And it's like that throughout things. We enjoy it on another level. You see things. Uh, the average gamer, maybe like you like Dark Souls, and you
Mm-hmm.
get wrapped up in the lore of the game. You want to know, this character, their backstory, the enemies, their backstory. For us as Christians, we enjoy those things too with our games. But when we play through, we also, on another level, maybe see, well, that was taken from, God's word, or I see this and that, so you get a greater appreciation when you find those kind of things running through the games.
I see. That's actually pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not something that a lot of streamers usually get into, which is why
No.
I think your channel is a unique
Yeah.
inspiration of sorts to
Yeah.
really be able to deliver that, kind of viewpoint.
Yeah. I'm kind of a pop culture preacher, the Christian nerd or geek or whatever you want to say.
Gotta be aware of what the kids are into, right? And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I take requests, and I've played everything. Like I said, fighting games are my jam, but I've played everything from Sonic the Hedgehog to Halo to, I mean, you name it on the channel. I have attempted to do it, and I've conquered most of them, and hopefully that's been an inspiration. People see, this blind guy is able to get through this game. That's so cool. Who is this guy? And maybe they find out that I'm Christian, and then it leads them to want to find out more about God. It's kind of a vehicle, when Jesus was going to collect his first four disciples, they were fishermen, and so he went to where they were in the boats, and he talked and met them on a plane they understood, spoke in terms they understood. He said, come and follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. And it struck their heart, and they forsook their nets and they went and followed after him. And so that's what I'm trying to do through games, use it as a vehicle to bring the gospel to gamers, speak in terms they understand, meet them on a plane they understand, and then, Lord willing, hopefully one day make them want to willingly become a fisher of men, want to take God on in their life, and I don't want to beat somebody over the head with things, but I want them to see, what it can do for their life, and then make the choice themselves, because That's what it matters. That's when it counts, is when you willingly want to come, to God, not because somebody else told you to, but because you feel it in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspired
Yeah.
to from example.
Yeah.
Some people forget about that with all the judging and
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
like I remember the Pokemon craze and there being Christian groups against that and
Yeah. Yeah.
saying it's all these things, but to the kids' minds, they're not thinking about
No.
those sorts of things.
No. No. No, when I was 10 and playing as Scorpion on Mortal Kombat, I wasn't thinking about those things at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just thought Scorpion was cool, man. I'm gonna play Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to hear that people are able to enjoy things even if it's not
Yeah.
strictly biblical or
Right. Yeah, you can find your way through things. When I do my reviews, I like to try to find ways of avoiding things. That's a lot of times too. Someone thinks, well, there's this game is no good to me, and a lot of times there's ways of avoiding these things. There's ways that you as a Christian can enjoy these things as well. You can find your way through them, as long as it doesn't have certain things, if for to me, I mean, everybody's got their own thing. To
yeah
me, if I hear somebody, like taking the Lord's name in vain, if somebody's using GD every time they turn around, and to me, that's and if there's no way of blanking that or getting around that, that's an immediate game over for me. Like okay, I'm moving on to something. I don't have to play this game. There's thousands and thousands of other games I could play.
yeah
But I'm sure everybody's like that. I'm sure if there's certain thing in a game with you, if you see it and it just keeps going over and over, even if it's something just repetitive in the game, you're like, okay, I'm done with this.
yeah
Yeah.
But that can go with a lot of things too, not just the Christian point of view, but some
Right.
people, everybody has their own values and
Sure. Sure.
tolerances and
Yeah.
breaking points too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not always a reason to stop a game or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You
Or there
just,
doesn't always have to be a reason,
right. It just doesn't gel or vibe with you. You just, yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of games that I start that I'm not sure that I will ever finish or get back to just because I didn't like it.
Right. Right. Yeah, like you said, it's okay to like a game that's just okay. It's also okay to not like a game because you just don't like it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing with AC Shadows that bothers me is that people are defensive with just criticism.
Yeah.
Like if you said like I thought the game was just okay, all of a sudden you're like labeled as a hater or
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And
like
you ever noticed in life, just as a whole, whenever somebody dogpile or is critical on something, everybody else dog piles on. Negative spawns negative, and positive spawns. But like, you ever seen like on Facebook or Instagram, somebody will post that they paid for somebody's meal in the line behind them in the drive-through at McDonald's, right?
yeah,
So then they'll keep tally. Well, this went on for 62 cars. Then the next person paid, and it just keeps going. It's fun. But if that first person wouldn't have bought that person's meal behind them, it would not have inspired the person behind them to do the same and keep going on. You know,
yeah,
Positive spawns positive and negative spawns negative.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I have Hogwarts Legacy, Bryce says. I know you all mentioned it, was gonna play it. You
Oh,
should.
that's
I
awesome.
recommend Hogwarts Legacy. It's actually pretty fun.
I wanted to play it, and I've never got around to it. I'd like to see you play through it, Bryce. That would be cool.
I wonder what the Christian point of view would be. I
Well,
know I know
that's
witchcraft is kind of frowned upon, but
yeah. Yeah, witchcraft is definitely wrong in the Bible as far as people using it for evil means. But first of all, this is a game, and I don't know how you could take it seriously. It's a game where magic's being used, and if you're a character that's doing good with it, it's in your hands, just like Mortal Kombat. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't have to kill somebody in Mortal Kombat. And people that judge those games don't realize that is in the player's hands. When it says finish him, you could just let the guy fall over. You could do a friendship, a babality. You can do nothing.
I remember the friendships; those were kind of funny.
Yeah, you have to input a certain button sequence to accomplish those things. So it literally is in your hands whether you do those things or not.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in Hogwarts Legacy. I'm sure if you're running around, throwing people across the screen, you can do that, or you can go through and just fight the enemies and try to do good. And RPG, you being an RPG guy, they're a lot based on moral choices and things like that. It's in your hands as the player.
My stance was kind of like, well, this isn't exactly how witchcraft is done either. It's in a fantasy setting. So, I mean, I don't think, people are doing real incantations.
No. And if you actually look, again, talking about that, Christian worldview, if you actually look at Harry Potter, there's a lot of Christian takeaways from that story, especially right to the very end. Harry going and sacrificing himself, so his friends can be free of this, and we could take the Jesus takeaway. I mean, I could go on for days with that. Which actually, I'm thinking about starting a series on my channel called Pop Culture in the Bible, where I point out the Christian takeaways from these movies and games and things. So I'm planning on starting that series here soon.
That's a great idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, thank you. I like what you're doing, this Foxx Talks. This is cool. And I like your idea about the honest reviews, or Andy's idea. That's a good idea too.
Yeah. I just like the community part of it. I don't really like to usually speak about what I think. I'm more interested in how others people look at gaming and what they are into. And,
right.
I'm always like, let me know, guys, what you think, in the comments, because I want to know. I like discussing gaming and having fun. And
yeah, I like, the Bible tells us, let every person be, swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. You learn a lot from hearing other people's perspective. You just take the time to listen to others. And that's what's missing a lot in the world today. People don't listen to others. They just want their way and get out of my way. And we don't see eye to eye because we don't take the time to listen to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. How would you address like morally ambiguous parts of games? Would you just stop playing, or would you? I'm just curious. Like,
well, it all with me with video games. Like I said, I always look at, is there a way to? I call them wraparounds. Is there a way we can avoid certain things? Like, for example, I've heard that the new Assassin's Creed game, you have these choices you can choose to be a male character, a female character, and then you can choose their romantic decisions or whatever. They can either have a romantic relationship with this person or that person, or you can choose not to have a romantic relationship at all. To me, that's great, because that gives us the option to not have anything at all and not get into that, but if there's a game that it's like, really kind of forcing it down your throat and there's no way around it, and if it's something that's biblically, wrong, then I myself try not to play them. But I don't judge someone that does. I have other Christian friends that decide to play Assassin's Creed and those things, and that's on them to make that their discernment and judgment. I just point out what may be a danger or maybe a, a thing, but every one of us is different. What tempts me or what might be a desire or a lust for me is completely different than what would tempt you, so we don't know the hearts of people. Only God does. And so we can't go around judging people on what we think their heart or whatever would be. But if we see them
Or
doing,
maybe guilting each other either, I suppose,
right,
for enjoying
right,
something that might
right,
be to someone else.
right. Yeah, that's in there. That's between them and the Lord. I can't, make the decisions for others.
I noticed when you were reviewing, I think uh, it was a fighting game. I think it might have been Tekken, or no, it was Killer Instinct.
Yeah,
And you were like, "Here's the werewolf character,
yeah,
and if you if you want to avoid playing
yeah,
as a werewolf, there you go.
yeah,
Just be aware that it's there."
yeah, yeah.
And
That's what I try to do. I try to point out, if this is a problem for you, it's in the game. It may be avoidable, but I'm letting you know it's there, because, like you said, everybody's different. What offends one person doesn't offend the next, and if there's options, to me, options is king. If there's ways of avoiding things, ways of blanking things, turning certain settings on or off, there's a lot of options to avoid certain things. And as a Christian, if you have those options presented, use them, but a lot of people just don't realize that they're even in the game to be able to continue enjoying it. They just write it off, and you can't write things off, and you definitely can't write other people off in life. You can't just say, well, they've been this way for 10 years. They're never going to change. I'm just going to save my breath. You can't be that way. Everybody is worth saving. Everybody's worth listening to. Everybody is worth trying to reach and considering their feelings. And that's the way I've always saw things.
yeah, it's a good way to go about it, I
Yeah.
think. And it's not something you normally see anyway
Yeah.
online.
I
And
appreciate it.
I for a gamer like me, usually I'm just like, it's a werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Right.
no big deal. But I never really considered in the past, like, what that might mean to somebody else. Like, I
Right.
never think of that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. And it's like that, like you said, with the Harry Potter to me, I thought of that, and I'm a Christian. I never thought of considering, witchcraft or whatever, because it's Harry Potter. How can you take this seriously? It's fantasy. It's so ridiculously cartoonish at times. It's hard to take seriously.
Yeah.
The difference between reality and and fiction. I don't know. It's
My grandma was against Dungeons and Dragons
yeah,
specifically, and
yeah,
she's been a Baptist as long as I've been alive and everything, and
yeah,
bless her and everything. She's still with us, luckily, but uh, how she looked at gaming was a lot different than how my teenage self looked at gaming.
absolutely, yeah,
And she was my income source. So if I wanted a video game, I had to come up with a reason. And,
yeah.
this made it difficult to buy music. And
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, within every construct, within every game, there's good and evil. And again, like back to the Mortal Kombat analogy, you have the choice to decide to do what's good or in the game, to play the character that's good at, that's in your hands, and what you do with that character is in your hands. You can pull a lot of good Christian takeaways from anything. It just all depends on how you see things, if you're going into a game and you're putting on the headset and you're playing something like Call of Duty, and you're going out and you're wiping people out, and you're as they the expression teabagging somebody, and if you're relishing in this and you're cussing up a storm and taking the Lord's
Yeah.
name in vain, this isn't healthy for you. I mean, this isn't good to be putting on the headset and relishing in this thing. But if you're just
I
going,
see what you're saying.
yeah, it's all on you how you handle it. That's what I'm saying. What's a temptation for you and me might be different than somebody else. You and me might just put it on and say, hey, I just like playing this game because it's just a way of passing the time, and I'm reliving World War II. This is awesome.
I'm not much of a talker on video games anyway, but I noticed less and less games are including voice chat, which can make coordination difficult sometimes. But
yeah, and that can be a toxic thing in itself, going online. I don't play a lot of online games myself, so yeah.
I usually don't, but I like, if there's a lot of talk and buzz about a particular subject or a game, and I'm like, I want to be involved.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. If you get a party of your own, buddies together, that could be cool, and even I've seen guys even, put on the headset and go out and evangelize to people, through that. And it's a way of reaching folks. So there's definitely positives to it, just like Facebook or your social media. What you put out there is your choice. Whether you decide to use it for good or for evil, it's in your hands. A lot of people,
I post only to annoy. No, just kidding.
Yeah, start fires. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's
I
a
try
lot
not
of
to
that.
get into heated conversations because of what it does to me.
Yeah.
I got my sister in my head sometimes too. She's like, opinions are like buttholes. We all have them, and they all
absolutely.
And
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you don't have to go too far to hear somebody's opinion. Everybody's willing to give you their opinion.
Sometimes it's good to second guess yourself before you hit that send. Is it really worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just that, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that make a living on trolling people. Bryce knows about that, was in the chat. Unfortunately, he's dealt with that. And there's just people that do that for the sake of doing it. And, there's no rhyme or reason. It makes their day to make you feel bad,
One of the things that I learned from watching Asmongold, because he got banned off of Twitch for like a week there.
Yeah.
And he came out and he said that, you get to the point where you're in such the life where you're reactionary to everything.
Yeah.
You start talking and you're not even thinking about what you're talking about anymore. And it's hard to, micromanage yourself like that, especially when you're always so off the cuff and just saying whatever you want.
Yeah, you're not thinking it through, you're just reacting.
Yeah. So I found that an important thing that he discovered, because ever since he's been a little bit more deliberate in what he says, and a little bit more careful. I mean, he's he is who he is, doing his thing, but
and a lot
I
of
also
times
saw him take it away as an excuse to clean his house, which I found is a positive thing. And
yeah. And a lot of times you can make an impact on you not the world, everybody out there expects when they say something inflammatory to you that you're going to blow up and do it back. But when you don't, and you just calmly respond, give them respect, that disarms people. They're not used to that. They're not used to somebody handling stuff with patience and respect. And that really, and then you start, all the people that's seeing that in the chat or reading that sees your reaction, and then you're inspiring and influencing them. There's a way of doing things, to help people.
Yeah. I guess part of it is because I'm older now. I see things differently.
Yeah.
I choose what I put emotional investment into, and
Yeah.
watch more of what I say, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, we all do. We all make mistakes on a daily basis. Patience is, it's not something you're born with. That's something that is developed over a lifetime.
But I live kind of under the philosophy is always evolving. I'm always improving, learning new things,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
improving myself too. Like I'd like to, when I look down upon it, like, what my highest virtues are and what I find the most important, to
Yeah.
concentrate on that the most and
Sure.
emotionally invest in that. And everything else just kind of matters less, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. I mean, when you really stop and think about it, all the stuff that we enjoy today, tomorrow it's gone. The
You know,
things that you love today, they're just temporary. Nothing here is going to last. If you're a guy that says, I've got this accomplishment, uh, later, you could be the home run king. You got the most amount of home runs of anybody that ever lived. One day, somebody's going to break that record. Your record's
you
going to
know,
fall and you're going to fall to history. Somebody else is going to replace you. Somebody else is going to be more flamboyant than you. So I think, like you said, the older you get, you start to realize that this stuff is temporary. There's things that matter more in life than this.
yeah. And it's opinions, for example, is a weird hill to die on, so to speak. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like sometimes we forget that there's other people behind that text online, or
Sure.
and we all have our struggles, like you said.
Yep.
But that's why I like to, just be like, I'm always evolving, I'm always trying to be a better person, and always trying to,
That's
be
all
better
any
than I
that's
was yesterday.
absolutely that's all any of us can do. I like to say yesterday's gone and tomorrow's not yet heaven sent. So receive today as a gift. That's why it's called the present.
It's like people say too, like, if I could go back in the past, I would make these little changes, etc., to fix my, life now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have the now to make the choices now for a better tomorrow.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
I try to always live intently in the present, because
Right.
that's where our choices are. That's where we are,
Right.
All
Right.
that ever is the now, right? So,
Yeah. We're like my dad always likes to say, we're only one day old every day because yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here yet. This is the only one you got.
you know,
Yeah. And of course, the decisions you make not only affect yourself, but those around you. You have a son, if you have children, they're seeing you.
he's his own little unique fella, but he does take after me a lot. And because of him, I've had to change myself, too, because I have to
Yeah.
be that example. And
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
but that generation gap,
Yeah.
that's tough for me to swallow, because my grandpa, he used to be on he used to be into old radio shows like Lone Ranger and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And when he was telling me these things, he was telling me how TV ruins it for people because it lacks imagination and things.
Yeah.
And back then I was kind of like, whatever, grandpa. But
Yeah,
now I catch myself saying stuff to my son, and he's kind of like, whatever, dad.
Yeah, it's like that for every generation, the generation that grew up with the radio when the TV came along. Oh, that TV is going to rot your brain. It's going to be the ruination of us all. Then when the video games came out, the people that grew up with TV, I don't understand you sitting there plunking away on that controller all day.
You'll
Every
never get a job
generation's
playing
negative.
video games. No.
Yeah, yeah. I could only imagine what it was like when when you hit the late '60s and Jimi Hendrix came around. That those people's parents grew up listening to Frank Sinatra and stuff. Could you imagine hearing Jimi Hendrix upstairs?
Yeah. My grandma was really into Elvis.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but she's like, I like his gospel stuff. I don't really much care for his other later stuff. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
It's just
mean,
every generation looks down. Like to me, I when I hear auto tuning and electronica drum beats and synthesized music, to me, I think there's nothing organic about this.
yeah,
I want to hear the strum of the guitar. I want to hear the drum beat. I want to actually hear somebody's voice singing the song. I want organic sound.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like on Fortnite because my son plays a lot of the festival mode with me, where
Yeah.
it's kind of like Guitar Hero in a way,
Yeah.
but on Fortnite. And so, but there's the Miku Miku song. I don't know if you ever heard that one, but
No.
it's fully like kind of robotic sounding and repetitive and almost AI generated. I swear it's a voice changer and it's
Yeah.
some 35-year-old dude in his basement. But but you're right. Good music comes from the heart or soul, and everything else just sounds kind of different or earwormy.
Yeah. Yeah. I want the human element and things. I don't want, I'm like that with my posts, I don't use AI generated posts or any, I want to write my own stuff and do my own thing. And
Yeah, that's how I got into jazz a little bit, music wise,
yeah.
because live, no matter how many times you heard that song, it's always different every time they play it because they
Yeah.
play it with their emotions and everything
Right.
into the music. So that's what I
Yeah.
always loved about that.
I
I
was
go see,
I grew
I
up a
go see
drummer, so
metallic of
I
it.
want that organic sound. I don't want an electronic drum beat that's only playing quarter notes the whole time.
The same repetitive
Yeah.
stuff over and over again.
Yeah. If you ever notice, I'll probably ruin songs for people now, but just take any modern song, just take a second to listen to them. All it is a quarter note bass and a quarter note snare through an electronic drum machine. It's that every song. Just listen to any modern song, you'll hear it.
I thought it was funny too with like country music.
Yeah.
There was this country mashup song,
Yeah.
and the whole point was this guy was like, "It's the same song. It's just." So
I used
these
to,
were like top charters too.
yeah,
These were, and they're all playing the same chords, the same sort
yeah.
of thing, but
I
it's
used to
just
make
how
that
music got.
I used to make that joke when I was in high school playing drums on the drum set. I used to say the easiest gig you could ever have is to be a country music drummer. Oh.
Probably.
Yeah, speaking of music, I seen you play music on your other channel, man.
Yeah, I play guitar and I write lyrics and stuff. I try.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
like
I'm
that
any good,
once
but some
you had a
people like
song
it.
called was it Faith Without Fear. I like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
that
was
was
good.
early in my
Yeah.
career. I think. Well, not really career, but
It's a career. You got it, forever in posterior to be able to look at it and watch them. And
I've always been a creative. I'm always writing books,
yeah,
writing on lyrics, and playing guitar, and I really like art and doing art as well, and anything creative I'm kind of in, and that's probably why I'm into video games because especially games like Elden Ring. Hey, Retro Rob is here.
hey, Retro, Rob, good to have you with us, man.
Yo. Still the coolest guy ever.
Absolutely, Keanu's in the house.
He helped me actually look at YouTube a bit differently.
Yeah,
He's like, a lot of us focus on the subscribers and the views and everything, but we forget that we're making content that we want people to see,
absolutely.
and algorithm or not, we should be doing things that we love. And
Right.
this
Yeah.
is what I like to do the
You don't
most.
have passion behind it, you might as well hang it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not out to make money either, but
Yeah. No,
it'd be nice to have a little pocket change for 1,000 subs, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel totally blessed. I literally, before I came on your show, I just hit 700 subscribers.
Oh,
And
congrats.
to me, I'm just like, I'm over the moon. It's taken me 4 years to get there, but it is a true blessing.
That's not bad at all. I had that other channel of mine for like 8+ years, and I never really topped over 300.
Yeah,
So
it's
that,
especially when you do variety, it's hard. And unfortunately, that's what I like to do. Nobody wants to do the same thing over and over again.
my nature shorts on that channel really took off. So I occasionally, take video of my backyard with the geese and the ducks and all that.
That's cool. Yeah, do you do you, whatever you're passionate about. You know, like there's an old expression on YouTube, and it's kind of corny, but people said, like your vibe will attract your tribe. You
Yeah.
know, whoever you are, the things that it comes through, to others, comes through the screen, and you'll gather who likes what you're doing.
I just hope to spread that positivity, man, because,
Yeah. Yeah,
for
yeah.
the most part, I mean, I am a bit critical at times, but,
Yeah. Yeah, but the
I'm
world
not
needs
out to hate games. I try to find the fun in every single one of them, I swear.
yeah.
You know?
The world needs more positive. Let's face it. We get enough negative. There's a dime a dozen of people that are willing to tell you what stinks or is no good or.
Yeah, but Rob was like, even if you get only 50 views or even less than that, that's 50 people who saw
Right.
your video,
That fills a room. Think about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
If you put 50 people in the room, that's a lot of people, Yeah, it's a blessing. It is.
It is. And
Yeah.
I like the opportunities given too. Like, I'm not sure if I could have done it without Retro Rob. And you need to come back, man. People been asking for Keanu Reeves back. But I started out too. Like I was doing Discord with OBS originally with him. I wasn't doing StreamYard like this, which is super convenient.
Yeah.
And I like learning new things and growing as a channel too. So, it's fun. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it might have been a week or two ago. You were on Rushmore show, I think, and you're like, I got 666 subscribers. We need to change this.
Yeah. I was stuck at 666 for like, oh my goodness, a week or so, and I just couldn't move. I'd go down and go back up, and I kept saying, and Kirk's like, something's got to be done. Somebody go sub to this man now.
Yeah. And surprisingly, you got quite a few pretty quick right then too. I remember. So
yeah, I think 3 or 4 that night. Yeah,
I think I was 668 just seeing that comment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know politically Christian gamer. He's always so friendly on the chat and everything, like prices and Chill says there's another people that regularly come up.
That's awesome. That's a good community over there.
Yeah. I'd like to come back onto that too. But
it's nice. I would too. I'd love to be back on. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. What do you think the direction for your what can people look forward to with your channel, do you think?
Oh, well, like I said, I'm going to continue on with the Blind Preacher Plays. So trying to inspire others that are, going through what they're going through in their life that they can overcome, watching, if you could see a legally blind guy be able to overcome games and enjoy life, have fun with things and not take things too seriously. I think that hopefully if I bring a smile to somebody, mission accomplished. And if it helps them through their day and whatever they're facing, again, mission accomplished. I'm going to continue on with those. going to continue on with the accessibility reviews for someone that's either low vision and blind, deaf and hard of hearing, the motor disabled, and of course the moral Christian accessibility. Then what kind of content's in a game, kind of let you know so you can make your own judgment on whether it's something you want to play, can play. I'm going to continue on with the Bible sermons. That's what my channel was founded on. That's what I'm passionate about. I'm a preacher. I'm going to continue on with those. As I said, I got a new series coming up I would like to do called Pop Culture in the Bible, where I kind of show how we can see biblical things running through all the comic books, movies, games, the things that we, enjoy in life, and kind of show a different perspective on that, maybe give people an appreciation for how many things actually are rooted in the Bible or rooted in God's word that we enjoy today. And I'm going to continue on, maybe have Bryce on, continue on my buddy Paul and others. Anybody that's going through anything they face, we have a series called Disciples Above Disability, where we show folks what we deal with. We talk about what we deal with, how we overcame it. And then we just kind of sit back and have some fun. We relate it to a certain topic or different things. And it's just a good time. So got all those things coming up, and who knows what the future holds, what I'll get into. But I appreciate everybody that decides to join me on this journey of faith and fun and further in the kingdom. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a bit of a smaller YouTuber, so, and other people are too out there, I'm sure. And I, wondering, any advice you could give to make the channel better, or anything like, can I organize these interviews better, or am I doing something wrong, or what am I doing well, or
No, there's really with YouTube. I mean, there's little things that you can do here or there, but it really is a lot of luck. I had to grind those first couple of years. I would lucky to have maybe 10 views on a video. It's a long process. At first, people don't know who you are. They don't know if they can trust you. You're just kind of a face in the crowd. Find something that is passionate to you that helps you break away from the herd, as they say. I think that would be my best advice. So what makes you uniquely you? That is what, you like these RPGs and these Dark Souls and these kind of games. You could stick with that. The algorithm loves when you narrow down to a specific thing. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine too.
This year, though, I've been playing a lot of, all of the From Software games, kind of like I've been doing the Return to event.
Right.
I did Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne and stuff. And I'm told one of the issues that I have is that I don't schedule times ahead of time. So nobody knows when I'm about to stream or not.
Okay.
Problem for me is sometimes I kind of, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Like if I say I'm going to be on that day, I'm going to be on that day. As to what time, well, whenever I feel like it. But that's probably not the right attitude to have with being a YouTuber, I would imagine.
Are all your videos live streams, or do you have like videos that you pre-tape?
Sometimes I edit some videos or cut them and, do discussions and things, or, I'll use OBS and share the screen and talk about whatever subjects and things.
Okay. Well,
that's a lot of work though to string a lot of.
If you're pre-taping some videos, maybe pick a certain days of the week where you set a premiere or you schedule them to come out on those days every week.
That's an idea.
Yeah. And then the live streams can be, spontaneous. You can do them whenever you can do them,
Yeah. During the events, I've been making sure that I stream every day for them, because it's 14 days per game.
Oh, wow.
So I got to stretch it out and make it last. And Bloodborne, unfortunately, is going rather quick. I have to do all these side things to make it, pan out. But
Yeah, yeah.
um, normally I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll stream, and every day I'll do a short of some kind, like, I'll show off a game and say something about it, or
Yeah.
you know.
Do you utilize your community post?
I post, but I feel like I'm sometimes the only one who reads them, or
Yeah.
um I do want to build more community engagement. I did see Iowa Retro Gamer Dad. I don't know if you know who he is, but
Yeah. Yeah.
he does community engagement posts. Like, he'll be like, your comment may be featured in the next video, or
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that idea. I should probably try that.
Yeah. I try to on a daily. I do a daily devotional on mine, where every day I have a different devotional where we look at a verse from the Bible and I relate it to different things, like to our life and how what we could take away from it. And then once in a while, I'll run like a poll. And actually, the reason I'm doing Killer Instinct on the channel right now is because that was the winner of a poll that we had on what they wanted to see become a series. And I like to get my community involved, because it's their channel as much as it is mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done a few polls, but
Yeah.
uh,
Keep
for
doing what
me,
you're doing, man. You're
I
you're
don't want
doing
it to
good.
feel like a job, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Well,
that's just what I do too. Maybe it'll catch on one day, and the
you will.
algorithm will start liking me more. And
Yeah. You keep doing you. Keep doing what you're doing and you'll gather your crowd.
yeah,
Yeah, you will. It takes a while. It's YouTube's not everybody likes to tell you that you can blow up and you can do this overnight. And once in a while, somebody gets extremely lucky and have a video that goes viral. But for the majority of us, that's not how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a grind. It's years. It's pouring your heart and soul into things and just
But
hoping
I
that
I
somebody.
am also impressed on how far I've gotten in just a couple months on this specific channel.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it took forever to get to this spot with my old one. So
Yeah. Well, you're doing good. Just keep doing what you're doing. I noticed over the last month your views have went up, and I think it's because you're sticking with a theme. You're sticking with the Bloodborne, and that's what
it's
that's
it's
what they
it's a
like.
hard, like, I picked Souls likes and From Software games, and retro specifically,
Yeah.
because I was looking at you know I'm like, okay, if what I want is community engagement,
Yeah.
then what genres or what subjects are getting the most engagement? And Souls like has tons of engagement that I'm seeing
Yeah.
online, especially most of it heated, but or argumentative. But I can bring the brighter side to Dark Souls.
There you go. I like it.
And
Yeah. Yeah, your people tell you what they want.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing good. Just keep doing what you're doing.
And then retro community is also very vocal about what they like and dislike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's just hard to, like, separate yourself, because what I'm thinking, like, what could I say that hasn't been said about Dark Souls, or like, or retro gaming or anything. And
Yeah.
sometimes I lean more into the nostalgia, like, do you remember this game? This was one I grew up with,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. But I'm sure you have unique experiences like with me, Street Fighters, you like something that's important to me because it's the game that my dad worked long hours and I didn't get to see him a lot through the day, but in the nights he would come home and he would poke his head in the room and he would always take a few minutes to sit down and he always wanted to play Street Fighter 2. And so that game uniquely holds a position with me because that's the game I shared with my dad. And I'm sure it's that way with you. Maybe you shared something with your brother, you can bring your own personal stories into things and why it matters to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like hockey games, like for the old Sega and stuff.
Yeah.
Me and my cousin used to play that all the time.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, see?
was fun. That and
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles, we were super into
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah.
Everybody was into Ninja Turtles back then.
Hyperstone Heist was the bomb.
Yep, yep. That's why I
Yeah.
liked Sega too, because we had the better games,
Yeah,
the better versions.
see,
Tournament Fighters I thought was a little better graphically on Sega.
and more difficult, man. That game button reads like crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I never knew what I was missing. People always say, "Oh, Turtles in Time's the best," SNES. I never played it. So to us, Hyperstone Heist was our Turtles in Time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did play the arcade though a lot when I was a
Yeah.
kid. The 4-player arcade
Oh, yeah.
version
Yeah,
that
that
was
blew
really
my
fun.
mind. Yeah. The first time I
And
played X-Men Arcade and you could have 6 players, that blew my mind.
that was crazy. The one with 2 screens.
Yeah,
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 yeah. I
yeah.
remember that, and it was rare for me to see it anywhere, but that was a system I remember. That was the coolest.
That was. And actually, they're getting ready to make a successor to it, an X-Men Arcade 2 I saw coming out.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the things I was looking at Amazon that I kind of sort of wanted was these joysticks, right? That you can that have like emulators in them and stuff. But
Yeah,
I'm like, that would be kind of cool to have a old school kind of joystick feel and everything. I mean, I wonder how those are, but
yeah,
every review is either really generous with their reviews or
yeah.
not so kind at the same time. And $110 is a lot for an emulator joystick. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and being a fighting game guy, folks take it seriously, you get the fight stick and you want that arcade experience and those can get pricey too, but I know what you mean. That's hard to I wouldn't put that into it.
there's even joysticks out there I noticed that don't even have the sticks. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the buttons
yeah,
and I guess that became an issue with fighting game tournaments and stuff too. They
yeah,
were talking about that.
yeah,
I
yeah. It
never
definitely
encountered
gets serious.
that.
Yeah.
Every
Uh,
contest, the controllers were provided. We couldn't bring our own back then.
no. No, and you would have to drive halfway across the country to get to a tournament,
Yeah.
especially if you grew up in a rural area like I did. There, you're going to drive a significant distance to get to a tournament.
Plus, I realized just how bad I was in
Yeah,
comparison to
yeah.
everyone else. Some people are really, really good at video games and pattern
Oh man,
recognition.
yeah. And again, being in the fighting game, seeing when you go online, people analyze the frame data, and
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable the reflexes people have.
it's incredible.
Yeah,
And I like people who can speed run games, but I'm not one of
no,
them.
no, no, no. No, I'm always impressed with that too, especially a hard game like watching somebody speed run like Ninja Gaiden or something
Yeah,
like that. That's amazing.
I I still can't beat past the third level.
Yeah,
I'm just one of those. I like the game. I love playing it. It's a
yeah.
fun game. I just never even came close. You
That's way
know?
with that's way with me with Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I don't know if I ever even got past the second board.
Yeah, and I hear so many people fuxing online too. Like I beat it the first time around, only to find out I needed this to
Yeah, yeah,
do
yeah.
it all
That's the
over again. I'm
yeah.
like, I
That
can't even do it once, man.
oh man, yeah. That's the awful part about Super Ghouls and Ghosts. You beat it once and you got to go through it again to actually get the ending. Uh, that's terrible.
Zelda was more my jam because I like the more explorative element
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but probably why I'm into action RPGs these days. So,
yeah. Did you grow up with those JRPGs, Final Fantasies, and
um, actually, I didn't get into RPGs until way later. I was more into fighting games,
Yeah.
exploration games, and platformers. We all kind of were. I mean, I would
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
It was a
Everything was
90s thing, yeah.
everything was pretty much a Mario clone or a Doom clone at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a Mario clone, a Doom clone, or a Street Fighter clone.
As a genre, though, the dungeon crawler genre
Yeah.
is one I wish would come back.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
well,
not done these days anymore, really.
yeah, other than Baldur's Gate and things like that, yeah, it's kind of a dying thing.
There was just something about that maze-like areas and everything, the way we had it back then, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a different sensation, like Might and Magic. Not a lot of people played very far into that, but I
Yeah,
did, and it was really fun, mapping out your own path, and
yeah,
we
that's
didn't have
cool.
the convenience of maps like we do today.
No, no, you'd have to write stuff down and draw it out, and yeah, it
Or
was a
by goodness, somebody erases your save file on your
oh,
PlayStation
man.
memory card.
Yeah, or how about leaving your console on even before memory cards, and
Yep,
somebody
yep.
comes in and bumps the console and your game freezes?
I
Oh,
get so mad.
oh, it was awful. Yeah, you might leave your console on all night and go to sleep, because there was no way.
My grandma would have cats, so sometimes they would be up on the shelf and everything and just nudge that Nintendo over,
Oh,
and
man.
I'm
Like
like,
it's
no, cat.
no.
All of a sudden, my grandma's seeing the cat race down the hallway, and I'm chasing after it.
Oh, yeah. That was a way of life, writing passwords down.
I don't know. I never thought of it like as like negative to be a nerd.
Yeah,
But that's the perception though, like back then, like
yeah.
everybody thought, but I knew a lot of kids that played video games.
Oh, I did. Yeah, me and all my buddies, we were probably, would be considered dorks, but we didn't care.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, what was a dork, 20 years ago, 30 years ago is now cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anime.
Yeah.
I saw a post once about anime too. They're like, you weren't nerdy because you were in the anime. You were nerdy for doing their special moves during recess.
Yeah, we weren't nerds. We were just ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, man, this was fun. I really appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah. It's always a good time, I think. And
Yeah.
just laid back.
Yeah, I like
And
this. This don't ever change. That you talk about wanting to know what you're doing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. This is cool. Just let people come in and be real. You can't put a price on being real.
yeah,
There's enough cookie cutter scripted stuff on YouTube.
I like that every single person who's been on said
Yeah,
that I'll come back. Just let me know.
absolutely. I'll be back
Yeah.
as well. Let me know. Yeah, I would be honored to be back.
And I'm always free too. So if you ever need another person to come on and say
Absolutely.
their 2 cents, I'll be happy to do that too.
Absolutely. I would definitely consider having you on.
Rub off from your credibility a little bit. No.
If I can help anybody, I'm glad to do it.
Yeah, it's fun to do.
Yeah, it is.
It's nice to be able to laugh and just talk games.
Yeah, this has been fun, bringing a smile and bring up our Mondays, because Mondays sometimes can be rough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And I still have Bloodborne to play a little bit, but in a little bit, but
yeah,
nothing too hard.
yeah. Well, I hope I'll be watching and seeing how you finish it up. I've never seen that game until I'm watching you play it. So
Oh really?
no,
Oh wow.
No,
It was
I'm
kind of popular.
yeah, I'm like Andy that's on the Rushmore show. He despises RPGs as well. I've never been an RPG guy. I'll watch somebody else do it, but I don't want to do it.
Reminds me of the Scott the Woz
Yeah.
episode where he was singing, "But I'm not an RPG guy."
Yeah. I like the stories to it. I appreciate the effort they put into it, and the soundtracks are usually amazing. But it's just not for me. I'm just that's not my play style.
I used to be super into the turn-based RPGs, but
Yeah.
nowadays I'm more focused on the action ones.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm part of the future now rather than living off the past.
Yeah. Yeah. The only good thing about the turn based is it gave you a chance to strategize what you were going to do. And now you got to be quick on your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 16, a lot of people didn't like that because it was no longer turn-based and
Yeah.
just kind of Devil May Cry-ish, and I'm kind of like, I liked Devil May Cry. I like this game. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with it?
Yeah. Yeah. I was never much for turn based stuff. I don't know. To me, I understand, like I said, the necessity for people to strategize and that kind of stuff, but to watch and it's kind of boring. And
I think part of it too might be that I used to read a lot as a kid.
yeah.
So, reading text and imagining
Yeah.
somebody saying it isn't too foreign to me, but
Yeah.
kids nowadays might not tolerate it as much because
Yeah. What? I got to read this?
why do I got to read a book to understand the story, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the things we had to do back in the day.
Sometimes we would have to read the instruction manual to even know the story because the
Yeah.
game itself didn't even tell us.
No, or you'd have to watch the attract mode or something to get the little snippets of story, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, you're right. There's been pluses and minuses.
Yeah. It's all
Um,
changed though really quick. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I liked
I wouldn't
watching you. You
even,
were I saw you one time playing through Spider-Man, I think, too.
oh
That
yeah.
was that was pretty cool.
I love Spider-Man as a character and everything.
Yeah, I did too.
2099 was my favorite, but that's coming from my comic collecting of the 90s
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I was all into Spawn and Spider-Man 2099 and those comic books.
Did you
That
watch the Spider-Man animated series?
the original, yeah, the
The
one
one
that
that
was
was
on
on
in Fox Kids.
the one that was on the 90s with
Yeah,
X-Men. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I would
That was
never
a cool
miss an
show.
episode of that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
they
go to
brought
the playground and swing on the swings and stuff, pretending I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. And they brought in other characters, which was unheard of at the time. They would bring in like the Daredevil and
Yeah, and they crossed over with the X-Men
yeah,
once, and yeah, that
yeah,
was really cool.
yeah. Between Spider-Man, X-Men, Superman, the Batman, we were eating good as comic book kids.
Oh yeah. Sometimes the movies were hit and miss, but
Yeah,
the comics themselves were always awesome, I thought.
yeah. The comics were good, and the animated series based on them were really good.
It wasn't just the stories either, it was the art. That was the appeal to me,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. It was so good they actually brought it back. What is it, X-Men 97 or what are they called on Disney now?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. So
They're on that Disney Plus.
yeah, everything comes
That's
back
another
around.
thing we have now that we didn't then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could you imagine being able to stream? On our day, it was hurry up, go grab a VHS tape, record this. Yeah,
Yeah, and flipping through the TV guide channel or flipping through channels, nobody
yeah,
does that
yeah.
anymore.
No, no. And now you watch everything on demand and what you want when you want. Yeah,
In some
yeah,
ways, though, I noticed too, like with Game Pass or with Netflix or any of those things, is that the more I have available to me, the less I watch or play.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
weird. to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's kind of like paralyzing. You see this tons of options, and you're just like, where do I begin? You know?
But back in the day, it wasn't uncommon for us just to pop in an old VHS tape just to watch it again, or
Yeah,
background noise or
yeah.
whatever.
You'd
But
have those super long, like 8-hour tapes, and you're like, oh, I can fit 4 movies on here, and the quality was so grainy and terrible, but we didn't care.
yeah,
You're just like, I got the movie now.
old Power Ranger episodes.
Oh, you go back and watch those. It's like a parody now.
It's a bit cheesy, but so
Yeah,
was the original show in Japan. It was made
yeah,
for kids, let's be honest. But
yeah, sure. Oh, they always had those like sound effects when they're like flipping everywhere, and that was the
every time
greatest.
that pterodactyl Zord would come out, it would hit that same tree again and again during the
Yeah,
transformations.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was there were so many classic, the 80s and 90s. I'm biased, but I think that is produced more than anything that came after it has.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Just
was
as
thinking just the other day too, like, I was going through Disney Plus and I'm like, blank check. I remember that movie, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
or, First Kid or any of those other ones, I'm like, why doesn't Disney make these movies anymore? They
Yeah.
were good, they were wholesome, they were
Yeah.
just a summer romp. They probably didn't cost much to make.
Yeah. Yeah,
Never-
everything that's one of the complaints I have. Everything today has to have an agenda. It's like whether it's a game or a movie, or it's like, what happened to the day of just making something fun? Why do we have to have politics or agenda in any of this?
yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah.
That's a classic. And Mighty Ducks. Like, we don't
Oh
really have
man,
these
yeah.
anymore. I'm
I
like,
used
why
to
not?
I used to laugh at Little Giants. That was a classic.
And then I really felt old when I came across a post that mentioned a cat from outer space. I'm like, I remember
Oh
that
man.
movie.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot about that movie.
Yeah, I did too.
Batteries not included is another
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. What was that? There was biker mice from Mars and all that stuff.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Oh man, there was so many things. It's ridiculous. And
Uh,
everything being made
Hot
today is
Cat.
just a reboot. I was seeing something today about they're thinking about making a remake or like a continuation of Big Trouble in Little China. I'm like, no. You can't duplicate that.
It makes me think like where the industry is at right now. Are they just that out of ideas, or are they just
Yeah. Yeah, the
are they over
creativity's
budgeted?
yeah, there's no creativity. Everything's just like I said, like cookie cutter, just what's gonna make us money? Okay, do that and do that over and over and over and over. That's
That's
kind of why we've
that's
been
how I thought about Assassin's Creed originally. I'm like,
yeah,
there's just so many of them.
yeah, yeah,
Like, is it really that inventive over the others, or
right. Yeah,
That's how I went going in, but
yeah,
it's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't at me, guys, but
yeah. We're all, it's just kind of like more of the same, I guess.
it's an Ubisoft game. It's pretty much what we'd expect.
Yeah,
So,
you know what you're in for, by what is this, the 12th game or whatever, you kind of know what you're in for.
yeah, when I was playing Star Wars Outlaws, I was like, it's nice not to play as something as a Jedi for once, in these kind of games, and you're a smuggler for once,
Yeah,
and going to the criminal element of Star Wars and all that. And I thought that was interesting in itself. But it's an Ubisoft game, so it's gonna Ubisoft.
yeah, yeah,
But I'm like, sometimes this is just what you want, because
yeah,
like It's like McDonald's.
You know,
You
it's
know?
not necessarily good, but you want it.
Yeah, you know, you'll still buy it every now and again just because you know the flavor. You know what to expect.
Yeah, give me that cardboard flavored chicken.
Ubisoft, the McDonald's of gaming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
At least that they give other people the opportunity to make a Star Wars. For the longest time, we were locked into the EA Star Wars, and
yeah,
so at least they did open it up, I guess.
I heard Quantic Dreams is making one too,
Okay,
which is pretty good.
yeah.
I like their games.
See, I wish the NFL would do that. I'm tired of Madden. It's just it's played, and it's just I want back in the day, you had NFL 2K and you had all these other NFL Blitz, and we were
Yeah, like
spoiled.
back in the day, we had other games too. Like
Yeah.
they weren't just football for like realism football. They
No,
were
no.
like funny, wacky football or whatever with
Yeah,
cartoon
yeah.
characters or throwing it super hard or
Yeah. What was it? Mutant League football and
yeah.
yeah.
You don't see many of those anymore, these offshoot like
No.
backyard baseball or
No. No, no, it's and that was one of the things that made it fun. NBA Jam, just this over the top, basketball.
boom shakalaka.
The guy's on flames and on fire, and yeah, it was ridiculous, but it was fun.
Yeah.
That's what's missing today. There's just the fun element's gone. It's just I don't know. It's they
Maybe
try to
it's
go for
formulaic.
realism. Yeah.
They're playing it safe, but they're betting on all the wrong things, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why do you think the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Wii, the Wii had the worst graphics of that generation? Why did it sell well? Because it was fun.
Wii Sports. That's
Yeah.
why. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was
That's
just
what got me into it. That's what
yeah.
got my grandma into it. She was moving too, playing that
Yeah, yeah.
tennis and you know,
Yeah,
that's what
that's
I
what it
liked
is.
about
I
it.
mean, that's fun sells. If you've got something that's fun and engaging, people will come. I think a lot of times, I mean, it's fine to have your realism, for here or there, but a lot of times folks just like me, they just want to put in a game. When you got a family and a job and responsibilities, you don't have, like I said, you don't have 200 hours to sink into a game. You want to just pick something up for a half hour, have fun with it, and put the kids to bed.
Yeah. And sometimes, man, when at the end of the day, when the kids are in bed, you're just like,
Yeah, you're not.
I don't feel like playing right now.
I'm not in for this grind. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It ends up being a chore more than something that's fun.
Yeah. Rob was saying if he plays an RPG, it's got to be at night when everything's slowed down.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah, yeah.
he usually likes going for the platformers and things. And
There you go.
I dig that. One of my favorite PS1 games was Jersey Devil.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just I mean, it wasn't like anything spectacular, but it had animated cutscenes and
I remember that.
it's a collectathon. I loved those. Like,
Yeah,
if
that was big. That was big in the '90s. I mean,
yeah,
every you weren't a legitimate platform or a legitimate console unless you had a mascot. Yeah, I mean, there was for
give us
every
random stuff to collect. I was there, man.
yeah, yeah. What was it? Gex the gecko and Spyro and
Yeah,
yeah, there was all that stuff.
Spyro. That is a good one.
Yeah, Crash and
Yeah,
yeah, there was all that. There was a ton of those.
got it was big in the '64 era too, with
Yeah,
collecting the jiggies on
yeah,
Banjo and Kazooie and
yeah.
all those. DK64, I think, still reigns champion of the most collectibles one can have.
Oh, I put so much time into Donkey Kong Countries for the SNES. It was ridiculous. That
That
was The
That where I
minecart
felt like, I
level
mean,
took.
oh, Sega's in trouble because
Yeah,
DK Country looked great.
yeah.
And the music, too, was really good in those.
Yeah, the minecart level took years off your life. Oh,
But
yeah,
mostly for me, back then, I was more happy just to like figure out where to put that rhino to in order to knock down the wall and collect all the
yeah.
golden ostriches and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I was comfortable just finding out the secrets of the early levels. I never got very far.
Yeah, and there's, oh my goodness, the barrels that keep moving like, and you have to
Yeah.
shoot. Oh my goodness. That
And
was
I really
terrible.
admire too, because I got into computer graphics and engineering a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And I really came to appreciate that how they're able to handle and program these things and display them on screen when they do.
Yeah.
It's a tough racket to get that going, especially from scratch.
Yeah.
And these guys
Especially
were doing it.
at that time, that pre-rendered look, that was something new.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that FMV, those games
Yeah.
that have FMV.
Yeah. Sega CD was big for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got it. I never had a Sega CD.
I had a neighbor that had one, but
Yeah.
I never knew a single soul who had 32X, but
I did. I
you
did.
did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, now I know a
did.
guy.
Yeah, I did. I bought it after they were already liquidating and it was like $20 or something. Yeah. I wanted
Gotta
it
have
for
that
Virtual
Tower
Farm.
of Power.
Yeah, I didn't have the CD, but I did have the 32X. I had probably about 12 games. That was it. They only made like 39 of them, I think, or something to
Yeah.
begin with.
I hear it's an easy one to collect if you're willing to spend for it, but
Yeah.
I'm not much of a full collection guy, but I hear that's an easier one to get into.
Yeah, I think there's 40 games, maybe total, 39, 40 games total.
Most of which you wouldn't want to play, but
No,
there's a few bangers in there.
Yeah, there's only probably about 10 to a dozen that are worth playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the 3DO. It was really more miss than hit.
Yeah. Yeah. I never had one of those. You had to have a mint or a fortune to own one of those.
Yeah. My grandma was always like, no, we'd be in Kmart and they'd have the displays, with the TVs and you could play them while you were there and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I always loved Costco.
Yeah. Yeah. The kiosk.
Play video games while grandma did some shopping,
Yeah.
It's a different time back then. Kids don't understand, I guess.
No. I was going to say the same thing. You wouldn't see that today. My parents would do the same thing. They'd leave us at the kiosk at Sears and they'd be going around shopping and we're just playing.
Yeah. The test consoles up at those sections, the game sections, and
yeah,
different times though. I suppose
was. I like to say that I thought about writing a book about it, but we were kind of the last age of innocence. The last group of kids that knew a time before internet, before cell phones, before these things.
And when they started coming about too, like cell phones weren't even really that personal of a thing until like I was in high school.
Yeah.
But then everyone was moving up from pagers for some reason to cell phones.
Yeah. Yeah, and the internet, same thing. The majority of households didn't even have the internet to the late 90s or early 2000s.
AOL really helped that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
With the free
Windows 98 was really, user friendly, and I think it's the one that a lot of people kind of jumped in on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The internet was different back then too. It would take a while just to load an image.
The dial up, that sound and graining.
Nowadays we just open up our phones and we're right at Google, but back then we had to type web addresses, we had to go through these categories. Yahoo chat rooms.
And then it had to that was like the Facebook of its day, talking to people. And
MySpace.
Oh my goodness. These are bringing some retro memories, man.
I remember those though. I mean, like, I remember the personality that somebody would put into their page
Yeah. Yeah.
and everything, and how
Yeah.
people would argue how they're not in your top 11 or whatever.
Oh,
I
man.
thought we were friends, man.
Yeah.
but,
Oh,
but even the web pages themselves were the Wild West with GeoCities and all that.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how I discovered ROMs.
Yeah. 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 Oh, that's just, it's fun to look back and see how far we've come. But, the simpler times, I do like looking because I think we appreciated things better then than we do now. Everything now is just instantaneous. It's at your fingertips, and nobody appreciates anything. Like you said, everybody's just so critical of everything because we're so spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be just a pastime to be on social media, something you
Yeah.
did for half an hour, maybe a day, like email.
Yeah.
But nowadays people are so connected and
Yeah.
so vocal, and it must be, heck to, moderate.
Yeah. And the sad thing is too, you can go to a restaurant somewhere and you can look and there'll be a family and it's like the dad's on a phone, the mom's on a phone, the kids are on a phone, and there could be a whole hour go by and nobody's talking to anybody.
I
It's just,
noticed that especially because I took 3 purposeful years off of Facebook altogether.
yeah,
I just deleted my account. I wasn't one of those people who said, "Oh, I'm going to delete it and then come back 2 days later." No, I cut it off for good
yeah,
for 3 years. And
yeah,
during that 3 years, my eyes were kind of opened at like how much time I was actually spending on it,
yeah,
how it affected me, how it made me feel, and how I was engaging with others.
yeah,
And I go on the bus and everybody's just on their phones or tablets, or
yeah,
a kid acts up and the mother passes them the tablet to calm them down. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I should be worried about the future generation or not, but
Yeah, well, I I think what it's gonna create is it's kind of created an antisocial world, and unfortunately, COVID kind of expedited it even more, because then it drove us into our houses away from people, and
yeah.
and now you get out into a world where people have lost even pleasantries or just even how you doing, what kind of day you having, nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, waving to strangers.
Yeah, yeah. Just the simple things that, we took for granted growing up. Everybody did that kind of stuff.
Another thing too is like I went to go surprise my friend at their house,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Why didn't you text first?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
people used to just drop in. Yeah.
"Yeah, we used to drop by. Can David come out and play?" Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now it's, "Oh, you should have scheduled, a play date with my kid," or
yeah,
yeah.
it's okay to turn me away, or
Yeah.
how we started relying on answering machines a little too much, and
Yeah. Screening your calls.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man,
Made
it's
things
just
convenient, but in a way, it made us a bit more antisocial. I remember that phone would ring and somebody would answer it.
yeah. Yeah, the human element's being taken out of everything. You got robocalls, self-checkouts, now we've become workers at Walmart ourselves. We're ringing our own stuff out. Uh,
Yeah.
it's like that everywhere. It's just slowly but surely, AI now is gonna start writing things for people, doing things.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know where it came up about, but like recently I've been seeing a lot about AI art lately. Like they've
yeah,
been really talking about it today above all days, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know how that came about, but I understand where people are coming from.
Yeah. I seen a commercial the other day. I think it was on YouTube or something, and that there's a company that literally you can sign up with, and they will utilize this AI that they came up with themselves, this company, to help you write a book that they guarantee will get published and get you X amount of dollars and things. And these people are on there and, it made me the X amount of money or whatever. It's like, you didn't write it. Some robot wrote it.
Some people have a lot of ideas, but they don't know how to compartmentalize it,
Yeah.
Like, what's his name from Rushmore show? Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's writing a book and he's like, I got mountains of ideas. I even have documents of like, personality types and,
Yeah.
and I can understand, AI can actually really help kind of, make it easier for you to.
Oh, I get that. Yeah.
But just straight up writing for you, that's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I
plagiarism.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, if you have all, because even before AI, we had people that would come in, editors, or help you clean things up or put things together, thoughts together. That's normal.
Yeah.
But having a machine write everything for you, that is so wild.
I remember seeing an old news broadcast back in the 90s, and they were explaining how the @ symbol works for email and stuff when that was newer. And they were like, AI exists, but, it won't ever replace humans. It won't make art by itself. It won't write by itself.
Right.
Maybe we can trust it with sports statistics and that kind of reporting, but nothing creative,
Yeah, yeah.
But now that whole script is flipped.
Yeah, and books, 1984, the Terminator movies, we're terrified that machines will become self-aware. It's like, we're there.
It's they've already won. No.
Yeah. Skynet's already here.
Yeah. Bow to our robot overlords. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to control humanity, this is how you do it.
Yeah, I've always said that, people always worry about World War III and all these things. I said, you don't even have to have a shot be fired. If somebody comes in with like an EMP burst and takes out our internet and all that stuff, we'd be completely helpless.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't know how to hunt or forage or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be I'll tell you, a shot wouldn't even have to be fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easy to control us too, because somebody was like, well, why don't we see so many UFOs anymore? I'm like, because nobody's looking up.
Yeah.
We got all these cameras on our phones, but we're never taking pictures. We're always chatting away or whatever,
Yeah, we're worried about.
Maybe that's the reason why we're not spotting ET there. No.
There you go. Oh man. Well, I think I'm gonna have to let you go, man. I got some things we got to get to tomorrow morning, but this has been fun. I don't want to leave, but I kind of have to.
Yeah, I feel you. Feel free to come back on at any time, like
I appreciate it.
I'm open up, a couple weeks from now. What do you say? I'll be like, all right, let's do it again.
Cool. Well, that sounds great. And the same with you, man. If I ever get things squared around where I can have some other guests on, I'd be glad to have you.
So where can people reach you if they want to subscribe or?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like I said, I'm on Poetically Christian Gamer on YouTube. I'm also on Twitch. I do streams. I'm Poetically Christian Gamer there as well. You got all my socials are all over my YouTube and my Twitch. I'm on X at PCD for Faith and Fun. I'm on Facebook at Poetically Christian Derek Stevens. You can pretty much reach me anywhere. Instagram, Poetically Christian Gamer. I'm all over. I'm glad to have you, and it's always fun.
Thanks for coming on. I super appreciate the opportunity.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
To talk to.
You're a cool guy. I'm glad to have an opportunity to talk to you as well, man. It's a blessing.
Sub to this guy.
He's really sub to this guy. Yeah, good seeing you, man. Lord willing, we'll have to do it again.
Yep.
All right, till then, man.
Yep. Peace, guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.